1977, as you know, the Erotic Art Society was created. The students in that organization came from a variety of backgrounds. Those students were interested, I think, in civil liberty.
The leader of the organization, President Neil Cook, is just really trying to, a little bit, push the buttons of the administration and see how they react. Well, I think it started out as just a campus issue, and what happened after that was the media got involved in covering it and writing about it, and I was surprised that it went outside of campus and became an issue for the community.
These students were motivated by Vern Miller's actions, but I know that they were ready to take him on, if you.
That's what it was.
And Miller was ready to take them on, as you can play.
Remember that it was a beautiful day. It was bright sunlight outside. It was one of those moments when no matter where you stood on the issue, you kind of felt galvanized, you kind of felt alive, you kind of felt like something important was being discussed. And, it was just exciting to be there. In 1977, when this was all there was, quite a bit of publicity about the thing, and there was a rally held on the steps of Morrison Hall on campus after the turn. It was a peaceful rally. There were lots of signs, lots of waving, lots of chanting.
Over by McKinley Hall, it was CSC Theater. One of the Vern Miller pull up and sort of chaos, and then I didn't know what was happening. And the guy who was then president, I never knew who he was, resigned because he didn't want to get arrested. And Neil Cook, who was from the Sunflower, said, well, that is terrible, you should not do that. He said, I'll be president. And he took over, and he showed the film, didn't he?
Yeah, I should point out that this particular semester, this would be the second semester, it's 1977, the spring of 1970. Neil Cook was taking the communication law class in it, so he went to cover a meeting of the Erotic Art Society as a reporter. The district attorney's office filed an action seeking a search or a warrant from Judge Ray Hodge. And he came out to the CAC Theater here.
He did?
And he watched the film. And of course, I think Vern Miller was around. Anyway, they presented had the order all drawn up, and after watching the film a bit, he signed the order. And then I think they had an arrest warrant for Neil Cook. I believe he was arrested. He at that time.
He stayed in jail that very night.
Well, then what happened was that Neil Cook was arraigned. He contacted our local chapter of the Civil Liberties, and the legal panel was contacted. In the beginning, I decided that we would have some expert witness. Experts often charge money, but Ralph Estes had filed for a grant from the Playboy Foundation, and they gave us $1,500 plus a statement too of support. Yeah. The interesting thing about this particular case, besides the question of whether the film was obscene, that's one question. But the other question was, did Neil Cook have the necessary intent to violate the obscenity statute? Because the Kansas statute requires that you must intentionally and willfully display material that's obscene. Primary defense of Neil Cook, because he did not have the necessary intent. He had never seen the film, and because his only intent was to, he said, was to test the issue under the First Amendment. His view.
The
jury was out only about 2 hours as the jury handed a note to the judge that we've reached a decision.
It was really quite a great victory.
Look, Neil Cook was dismissed from the case on the grounds that he was no longer the president, and well, he'd already been found not guilty, or therefore his res judicata could not be tried again.